right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Trending Echoes. I'm your host, Omar. We are here at COP28 at the beautiful Expo City in Dubai, and I'm joined by a very special guest today. I'm very excited about this episode. We have right here in the studio, Professor of Environmental Science. We are joined by Dr. Amer Almadidy. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Now, Doctor, you have a very interesting background. I'm very fascinated by it. And I understand that you got your step into sustainability and environment quite a long time ago. And I want to be able to bring your expertise into today's theme here at the Expo, which is food, agriculture, and water. And I believe that you have a bit of a background in that. So tell us a little bit more. How does your expertise come into play with that?
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me here. Let me first give you a brief idea about my background. In fact, I started my real work in this field back in the 80s. 1980 was the first time. And back in 1980, I was doing my PhD at Mississippi State University. My research at that time was to deal with one big, huge environmental project. That's the pesticide in nature. Pesticide was very toxic material, and they found out that it does do a lot of troubles to the environment in general. So we couldn't do much, the scientists, we couldn't do much at that time other than trying to protect the human being, the farmers, the consumers, anybody else. So my thinking came that why don't we create some kind of a vaccine against this material? And we did. And in fact, we work on it, and we were very successful in it, and we had it. The university owns all the know-hows and everything. And then that proceeded, a little bit, more further into going to the remediation of the environment. Now, you need to know that there are two things which we need to do to the environment nowadays. One of them is to stop what the human being is doing to the environment from throwing all this toxic material. That's one thing. So stopping the toxic material. The second thing is not to do anything like that in the future. And in fact, we need to correct what has been done before. So two things, remediation, and the other thing is to stop having all this contamination in the environment. On the level of cleaning the environment itself, I started working with a company in Canada back in 2000. At that time, we started working on bioremediation of pollution in the environment. So how do we clean that? Well, we came up with some know-how and technologies protected by patent in North America and elsewhere in the world, is to add this material to the surface of the water, to the surface of the contamination. This material has microbes in it and fungus. This agent is going to eat away, convert them into carbon dioxide and other material, which is not harmful.
So sorry to stop you, Doctor. Just to understand, a ship leaks oil in the water, right, and then you guys provide what that eats it up? I didn't understand that.
We provide agents. It's a liquid
material. What do you
material.
mean? What does agents mean?
Well, that's part of the know-how. I can tell you. I can tell you what it means.
Okay.
It has bacteria and it has a fungus in it.
Okay, so bacteria and fungus.
And fungus, yes. They utilize this petroleum. They live on it. So when they live on it, they eat it, and then they convert it into waste product.
So this is being cleaned in a very organic way.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that takes some time, like 3-4 months, but it doesn't cost much, other than just spreading the material on the surface of of the water itself. For example, the air. You have a lot of carbon dioxide that goes out. So there are many technologies, of course, about that. One of them are the chimneys with the filters in it that they can do. We have participated into that also to some extent. So that's on the level of trying to protect or to clean or to remediate. One big project that has been done and is still being done, for example, car companies, the auto industries. In the auto industry, they consume lots of water.
Right.
Why? Because they take the car and they paint it, and then after they paint it, it comes into spray. The spray goes in the air. So
right,
after a while, the air is going to direct all the spray to go to the water underneath.
Sure.
So then the paint becomes suspended in the water. Well, water is not cheap things. So
Sure.
now every like 2 weeks, they have to change the water, multi-thousands of cleaning water that's going to go to the drain. We have the car itself in the first stage of manufacturing.
Right.
So this car comes being sprayed by robotic machines.
Right, in the assembly line.
Right, in the assembly line. So the paint is in aerosol things.
Okay.
Now some of it, which is about 50%, goes on the body itself, and another 50% goes in the air,
Right.
which will be collected and directed to the
Sure.
water stream down there.
Sure. So as the car is being spray painted, some of it obviously goes on the car and the rest of it goes down the drain.
Exactly.
So then what happens to
Then the water
part that-
becomes contaminated.
Right.
And after a while, you cannot use it. Now, how long is that while? It's not that long. It's about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at the most.
Right.
The water comes out of this facility contaminated, which has a level of contamination measured by the COD called, or BOD. COD means chemical oxygen demand, which is how much of organic material is in the water, or biological oxygen demand, which how much oxygen being consumed by a microbe to digest things. So when we measure the COD and the BOD, the sewage facility allows you for a certain limit, less than 1,000. But in Europe, they have with these industrial, with these industries, the COD comes like 150,000, not 1,000, 150,000, sometimes 160,000, sometimes reaches up to that, higher than that. So then they have to keep cleaning the water, which would add cost. We came with a technology that would have a combination of microbial species. And when we mix it with the water, those microbes will digest away the paint that is suspended in the water. And then the water, instead of being discarded in 2 weeks, it can last for about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, the technology now is being used by most of auto industries in Europe, and it's also protected by an international patent.
Why aren't we seeing a lot more car manufacturers actually use this technology? Because it's a very organic way, as you said, of being able to treat the wastewater.
Yeah. For example, Mercedes, BMW, Peugeot.
Right.
In China also, I have been in China several times to introduce the technology. In China, we have Nissan and we have Toyota, we have other in Vietnam, in Turkey, and so many places.
Okay.
So it's being adopted by these companies. Of course, they start using it, on the way of trying to experiment it, trying to try it, and then it goes into higher.
Sure.
Into a much bigger thing. So this is the second thing. Water now is being given a long life, and you don't have to change water very quickly. Also, it saves money.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing that we are doing on cleaning the environment. Bioremediation, which is cleaning of the environment biologically, not chemically. And the second thing is to stop all kind of contamination that goes out, to the environment.
Excellent. Now, Doctor, I also understand that you are LEED certified.
Yes.
So help us understand a little bit more. What is LEED certification exactly? I understand it has something to do with sustainable buildings, construction.
Yes.
And the reason I'm asking is because obviously we live here in Dubai, in the UAE, where we see plenty of new real estate development coming up on a daily basis. And to an extent, we understand that a lot of that development is not necessarily environmentally friendly, but the LEED certification makes things more sustainable, I guess. So tell us a little bit more about what is LEED certification exactly, and why do we not see this as a requirement from every building that's coming up? Is it a cost factor, or is there anything else?
LEED is like an abbreviation for a statement, which means leading energy and environment development or design. So LEED. This has been initiated by the USGBC, the United States Green Building Council.
Right.
Now, this is a certificate, which means that the building is friendly to the environment. What does it mean, friendly?
Right.
It means the building has been created or has been built in 3 ways where sustainability is implemented. First, in the design stage, that I'm going to design the building, but I'm going to have it do not consume much water, so saving on water, and you have to show how do you save the water in this thing, and it has to be approved. That's one thing. I'm going to save energy. Then therefore you have to show how you save energy, what kind of equipment, what kind of machine you put in there. Plus the healthy environment, the material itself, that there should be no chemicals coming out and stuff like that. This is for LEED. But then when the United Arab, of course, LEED was initiated because they needed to have green buildings, good thing. But then they have a concern here. They can offer, lots of water, but they don't have the sources of energy. Now, luckily here in this country, we do have the sources of energy, which is most important, but we don't have the water. So now to implement the same kind of system LEED in this country, it's challenging. Therefore, the authorities in Abu Dhabi came up with the idea of trying to create something similar to LEED in this, here in this country. So they call it Sidama, the Pearl Sidama system.
Okay.
The system is being given on levels. The first one is going to be one pearl equivalent to the approved on LEED.
Okay.
The second one would be 2 pearl that's equivalent to like gold, and they have a silver, and they have the applied one. So if you take the levels, it's almost similar. In order to apply the system of LEED here in this country, it has to go through many steps in order to modify it and make it suitable to this country. Well, finally it came to life, and it was good because the challenge was the water here. So therefore, they put some kind of measures which would save water on consumption, but at the same time, it's something that we can find the water all the time. We wanted to, at that time, to start having this thing to be applied on an experimental building. That's where we started with, Sheikh Zayed Desert Learning Center, which is the, one huge and beautiful monument put in
Al Ain Wildlife.
Al Ain Wildlife, yes. This was one building among so many other buildings that has been, built at the same time, and they all were, green buildings. So I was the environmental manager for Sheikh Zayed Desert Learning Center and for the entire, buildings around there. We were lucky and successful to bring all these challenges into some kind of reality. So we've been able to obtain the highest level of Sidama, that's the 5 pearls, and we achieved also the platinum level on LEED, on that building. What makes the building so nice and so good, which make the Sidama to give it the 5 pearl or the LEED to give them the highest? Well, the building, first of all, is made of several floors. And each floor will give you a story about the environment. So this is meant for like a regular street guy who knows nothing about the environment to teach them a whole course about environment from the entrance. They go up and then they come back from the same entrance. They would have learned a lot about environment, how to save water, how to save energy, how to create nice environment, how to avoid the sick building syndrome. That's the syndrome that is.
What is that?
Well, this is, when you have this building here, for example, and it's made of bricks.
That's an actual term. It's called sick building syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, SPS. So you have this thing, and it's made of chemicals. Material have chemicals in it. These chemicals, some of them called VOCs. VOC means volatile organic compound, material that evaporates day by day for a while. So you have all this chemistry being put in this building, and you're sleeping there 8 hours a night, and you're consuming most of your life in there, and you're breathing this material.
Right.
Well, in Sheikh Zayed Desert Learning Center, we managed to have sensors up hanging in the roof, which would detect about 33 VOCs type that would give you immediately an alarm if there is anything that goes higher than the level.
Okay.
So anybody that comes to the building and visit the building takes about 2.5 hours. After that time, goes out with a full course about environment and awareness about environment. That's the the idea behind this.
Excellent. Now, Doctor, what is next for you? What can we expect in terms of anything new, anything recent?
Well, at this time, yesterday we were involved into this, artificial intelligence. We wanted to introduce artificial intelligence as the next step in order to avoid having any contamination in the environment. Now, we're going to start from a little thing. And again, luckily, and I'm thankful to this country that they are offering all the support for these things. In this country, there are laboratories that is working and with the result being shared to the rest of the world. So if we can do it in this small, beautiful country of United Arab Emirates, it will be something that's going to be doable by big countries like China, US, Canada, or Asia, or anybody else. So we're starting the nucleus here, and then hopefully that would spread to the rest of the world. Again, it's the artificial intelligence in which we may have some equipment that takes care of the contamination in the air, pollution in the air, converted into some other form, which is non-toxic thing. Hopefully we will do it, inshallah.
Well, it sounds exciting, Doctor. We'd love to continue talking to you, but we would love to have you back in the studio, hopefully sometime soon, inshallah, if you're available for it.
Thank you, inshallah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was another episode of Trending Echoes. I was your host, Omar, right here from the beautiful Expo City in Dubai, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.